Hey everyone, thanks for checking back in. We're back in the garage here today. Like many folks, I put a level 2 charger for my electric vehicle in the house. I did mine inside my garage, but there's no space for my car in the garage because I have other things in my garage, other cars. So the ID4 doesn't get charged in the garage. It gets charged outside. So what I've been doing is running the power cord underneath the garage door. I close the garage door. That leaves a little bit of a space. Some folks freak out about the garage door touching the wire, the cable. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I'll do a little bit more research on that and see how hard it's hitting it and things like that. But for right now, I've decided that I'm going to come up with some way to be able to run my cord underneath and still have a seal underneath my door. I'll show you what I came up with initially, which is terrible. I ran a big blanket. I just ran a big blanket underneath the door because the door would hit the wire and it wouldn't close all the way. It would leave, a half an inch. I don't know how thick that cable is. It's less than a half an inch, say. But it left a space. And I'm in the northeast of the United States. I'm in New York, and it's cold here in January. And it's January now, and it's going to be cold in February. And I'm just getting cold air into my garage. And it's not a heated space, but my bedrooms are above it. It makes the floor very cold. Plus the fact that mice and other sorts of critters can get up in there. So right now, my thought is that I'm going to replace the seal first. So this seal right here is really in bad shape. Right? This doesn't. There's no real bounce to this anymore. So the first thing I'm going to do is replace this. I've looked up a bunch of different ways that folks have come up with, some different ideas that they have about, running things along the bottom, or somebody even invented something that was kind of neat. I don't think I need to spend money on something like that just yet. So I'm going to first replace this so that the seal sits down a little bit further, and we'll see what I came up with for how I think it's going to go, and we'll see how it works. So let me get started here. All right, so I'm going to start with what I have on the wall here. Here's my level 2 charger. I went with the Autel. Didn't make a video about that. That's just the one I chose. There seem to be a zillion of them out there. A bunch of them seem to be sort of the best, sort of top line ones. This one I thought was pretty good. So that's the one I went with. The way that I would charge my car is I would run this cable down along the floor, kind of on top of this blanket, which I have right now, and then out this corner right here, sort of right there, next to the seal, and then that would run out, to the car would be parked there. It's down there right now, but I pull it up here. So for right now, like I said, I want to get started on replacing this. Now, this seems to be, so I have a Clopay door. That's irrelevant really, but the nice thing was that Home Depot carried the replacement seal for this, and this is an 8-foot door. They carry it in 18-foot length, so I can do both doors with some spare, and then I can screw it up and I can just go buy it again because it only cost me 16 bucks. So that is the plan at this point. I'll start to look at doing this. I got the door lined up where I think I need to have it to be able to access this, and we'll start to see. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it. Let's see, from in here. I'm going to try to grab it in here and start to pull it. I may actually just cut it. I've watched a whole bunch of videos for other people doing this, and a bunch of guys cut this straight down the middle first. I think that's what I'm going to do now to get this process started. All right, so I've sliced this in half, and I can grab this top bit here and start to pull that right out. That one's going pretty easy. That's encouraging. One thing I've learned with home improvement tasks, you always assume something bad is going to happen. So that came out pretty easy. This one could be something bad that's going to happen. That got pulled out a little bit on the end. I wonder if that's what's going to cause my issue here. Let's try and go down to this side. May have to yeah, I can't get in there. All right, let me work on this with both hands, because this is a tricky, this one's going to be tricky. Okay, quick update. After pulling at this thing a whole bunch, I didn't remember, I actually saw, there's a little screw at each end of this that's holding in the back part of the seal. So there's one on this end. That's a long damn screw. Okay, and there's one, swapping hands, there's one right here. So if I can back these two out, I think we will be back in business. So while I'm shooting this little segment, one thing that they say to check is all along the inside here, there's other little screws, right? And these need to be checked to make sure that they're tight, because, you know, like so many other folks, this door is close to 20 years old and I've never changed the seal on the bottom. So shame on me, but this is something that I never really needed to worry about because the door made a good seal on the floor. So let's see, let's just get a little, I may end up just pulling this thing out. I have to cut that one just because I brought out a pair of pliers. Again, let's see if I can one-hand this. Oops, sorry about that. Accidentally hit the off button. All right, so yeah, this is going to be, I don't want to just rip this straight out. I'd rather slide it. So let me get to work with two hands and we'll see if I can't get it running. Okay, we're back. I ended up literally just pulling that back piece out, just supporting the track with my pair of pliers, and then pulling it straight out because I just couldn't get it to slide. But the next thing to do is make sure that the track is all clean. So it's just a wire brush. All right, it's not in terrible shape. Let's go through and make sure these screws are all tight. Everything seemed pretty tight. Just so far the one on the end is a little loose. These are all a little bit rusty too. There we go. That one needed a little tightening. This guy looks good. Let's see. Screwdriver gonna make it in there? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Good. So this is nice and tight. All right. So that's good. Just give it a quick wipe down. The towel. Any last minute little kind of dusty stuff that's in there. Kind of clean that out. And then one of the things that they recommend is some sort of a lubricant in here to help the new one slide in. Some guys did theirs in soap. Something in there. Hang on. Oh, that's from the. So some guys did soak their thing in soap. The seal, Some other guys just sort of threw occasional little squirts of sealer in here. Kind of a fan of the sealer over the soap. Like this is going to give me a better slide. All right. So, like I said, my door is an 8-foot door, and I've got 18 feet of sealer. So I'm going to measure out a 9-foot. I'm going to cut it right in half. You want to leave a little bit on the ends and tuck it back in. But let me get cutting that, and then we'll get to installing it. Okay, so I tried to start this on the other side, and that did not go well. So now I've moved over here, and it seems to be starting better. Looks like the angle is going to be kind of the tricky bit. I gotta get it past the. There's a little spot there where the screw that I removed before was in. So see if that helps. Still hitting, still a little edge there. Right there. You can hear the wind today. Nice cold windy day. Good day to be working outside. Let's see if that helps. See if that's enough yet. All right, let me pause this for a sec. Gotta go get some more tools. Okay, I took a smaller screwdriver to it. I sprayed a little bit more of the lubricant in there, and I seem to have gotten it to respond the way I wanted it to. One thing to realize is that don't pull out. All right, so that didn't work. The whole thing's pulling out. The whole thing pulled out. One of the things you want to realize is the bottom, when you're putting this in, the bit with the ridges is the bit that goes down towards the floor here, towards the concrete. So that's just something to keep in mind. We're going to try this again. He said this is something that requires some patience. I am not particularly patient, but in this case, I do not have a choice, because if I don't do this, it's not getting done. At least not today. So I need to just take my time and line things up. And get them moving in the right direction. I think once I get the initial bit past here, it should slide pretty well. I may have opened this up a little bit back here when I was prying that, so let's tighten this a little bit. Do it yourself, they said. It'll be fun. All right. No reason for you to watch me struggle with this thing. I'll report back when this is done. Okay, back at it here. You can see it's probably about 20 minutes later. I've got it just about all the way down, but I wanted to jump in and see if I can show you basically what I had to do. I had to do a little bit more work up in here where that screw was. And now the trick is pulling with the hand that's pulling on this and just guiding this through, keeping this bent and guiding it through so that it really gets into, let's see if I can get to this so you can see this, so it gets into these channels. I had a couple times where it pulled out of this channel and that was frustrating. But so that's basically what I'm doing. Let me get this last little bit done in here. So it's just really pinch here and give it a pull. Nice and easy. I think that having put the lubricant into this channel probably helped. I'm probably pretty close to the end over there. Let me go take a look. Yep, just about another quarter of an inch, literally. That, I think, yep, that puts me right on it. So one of the things they say to do is sort of give it a little bit of a pull back, right? See any of these folds or any little bubbles, make sure that those are pulled back out of it. Right, this is in there pretty good. Right, that'll squeeze up in there nicely. It's right up to the edge on this end. Yeah, it's right up to the end there. So I'm going to put these safety screws, not safety screws, but these retaining screws back in. Phillips head. Of course, always. Well, let's see. There's no hole there. It's a self-tapping screw, so it should go through pretty easily and then find its way. Yeah, there it goes. So this is good. This will keep it from sliding. They tell you to tuck in the other end. I wonder if I should have done that already. All right, let me find the screw I dropped. I'll put the other one in, and then we'll get to what I'm planning on doing to make my charger cable slide underneath this a little bit more easily without having the space. So I'll be right back. Okay, so that is in. It's closed, and it looks pretty damn good. So here's what I was thinking. So some folks had built up sort of they bought like wire channels. They put wire channels underneath here, and then would notch out a little piece. Other guys, like I said, had invented, and they're for sale now. A guy out of Canada. It's a great idea. It sits over here, and you notch out a piece of the channel here, of the gasket over here, and the rest of the gasket just drops below it. Your wire goes through this little piece here. It slides, so when the wire's not through it, nothing can get in. Great idea. I just don't think I need that. I think it's a great solution maybe for somebody else, and here's why. Looking at my floor, right, looking at the garage here, you can see, maybe you can't, but the gasket is pretty well compressed over there, and it's not very compressed here, and it's more compressed on the end. So what we're looking at here is this is not flat. So let me mount this so I can show you what I'm talking about here. So what I was thinking was trying to find a spot where sort of the gasket is the least compressed, or almost not compressed at all. And I look here and I measure it, and that is just shy of an inch. So even if we say it's just maybe just over 3/4 of an inch, so there's a 3/4 of an inch space here. There's not that much on the end. There's not that much on the other end. Right. So when I go and look at my cable, and I measure the cable, so we have to focus on that, right? That's about 3/4 of an inch. So if I was to lay the cable and have the cable come out at a space here, and that towel will be, that blanket will be going away because I won't need that anymore. But if I have the cable come out in a spot where the gasket is the least compressed, I can put slashes in the gasket. The gasket doesn't help water, it's really just for wind and critters. And then when I close the door, I line the cable up right where I've made those slots. The piece where the cable is will go up, and on each side of it it'll go down. I'll have to do it tight, but this is doable, I think. So let me set all this up, and I'll turn this back on. Okay, so I've laid the cable down about where I think it should be. And let's see. Okay, so you can get a decent look here. So the cable, sorry about sticking my finger in there. The cable is there, but you see there's a little space, right? There's still a little space here, a little space here. So I'm thinking that that's probably a good spot. So if I do this, I mark there and I mark there as my spots, right? And then I give a little snip here, and I give a little snip here. All right, that's enough to mark it at least. And what I'll do now is I'll open it back up. All right, find my little snips. My little snips are there and there. So I'm going to want to do this with 2 fingers, or 2 hands rather, but I'm going to basically cut straight lines here. This way this will collapse all the way to the ground, and then this will push up. Oops, sorry. Do that again. This and this, these 2 sides will go all the way to the concrete, and this piece here will smush up, and I won't have this sort of, this angle, right? So it'll be stark there and there. So stark there and there. So let me cut this, and then we'll see how that works out. Okay, so my cut is made. All right, so that's going to collapse. I can already see maybe an initial issue, but let me close the door now. What I'll do is when I go to charge, I will just line that up, and that is actually pretty damn good. I am pretty happy with that. I am actually really happy with that. I just make this cut a little bit more. All right, there's still a little bit, maybe. It's still holding on a little bit on the edges there, but I think I'm going to be pretty happy with this for now. And like I said, if I find that this doesn't work out, so we can get you a better angle on that. If I find that this doesn't really work out, this stuff was 16 bucks. Probably took me a half an hour to put it in. Now, my one concern is when I go to pop this thing back up and then close it again. So yeah, when I open the door after charging, this stayed a little bit collapsed up in here. So I'll just want to, each time I'm done charging, I just want to fix that. But it's very similar to what you would do if you had any of the other solutions, right? If I had a wire channel at the base, I'd have to move the part that I cut out to make the notch to put the wire through, put the cable through. And if I had the piece that those folks up in Canada invented, I would have to, you know, slide the little slide over. Again, theirs is a very elegant way to do this. This is mine's sort of just a hack. But look, it's going to work for me at this point, it looks like. And I may end up just leaving the charging cable running through the bottom of the door, and I may mount out here. I may mount a place to hang the cable and plug in, just to hang it, just to store the cable outside. So I won't have to keep doing this. I won't have to open and close every single time. I can just leave the charging cable out here. So that is the end of this. I'm going to go do the other side. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. And we'll see you next time as I come up with new stuff to talk about and share with you guys. So appreciate you. Thanks. Bye-bye.